It has been a long time since a game has got my attention as well as Palworld. This Ark meets Pokemon clone is just absolutely phenomenal. I've never heard of it, I didn't know it was a thing, it just randomly got suggested to me by one of the boys, so I jumped in to play it. The character customization is pretty basic, but I did manage to actually create a character I was quite proud of, which I don't normally get to do in games like this. I know I always say that I go into games blind, right? But with this one, I was Matt Murdock blind. I've never heard of it, never seen anything about it, so it completely blew me away the second I actually loaded in. You wake up on a beach, you got all these tiny little critters. They're kind of cool, I guess. They will be later on. And there's your non-Pokedex Pokedex. I'm going to try and not make too many references to other games, but when you see this, you know it's difficult. So the first thing I've done is kind of the same thing I do in every game. I just admired the scenery, went around, met the locals, then kind of kicked the shit out of them. I didn't actually expect them to fight back, that surprised me, but I did manage to turn them into a KFC menu before I left. This individual had a firearm, so I noped my way out of there just in case. I had no idea what I was doing or what I was going to do, so I kind of just tried to do the opposite of what I normally do on Ark. All I do on Ark is get killed and get lost, so all I had to do was stay alive and just not adventure too far away from where I was. So I managed to follow most of the instructions from the corner, Minecraft tactics, punch trees, build stuff, the usual. Now these little POW spheres are like Palworld's Pokeball equivalent. That is such a tongue twister to say. So after that I kind of went full caveman and started beating rocks with bats. I then graduated to a bigger rock. I then managed to create my first ever POW sphere, and I was quite excited to catch something for the first time, but I had no idea what I wanted to catch. I kind of started exploring the game's menu. I found a few creatures, none of them really interested me. It was nice to see a lot of familiar features though, and also a guilds menu, which would be very interesting for me to dive into later on. Anyway, I started kind of adventuring, the one thing I said I wasn't going to do, trying to find a creature that I wanted, and I wanted this Torterra right here, right? But I wasn't wanting to fight him, so I decided to just opt for this little cat. So I have a cat now, Cativa. And the best thing about Cativa is he's just violent. He just fights everyone, which is handy when you're trying to like mass capture things, but not handy when you're trying to stay alive and they start coming at you like fucking Cannonball from Ben 10. At this point I kind of just wanted to adventure and see what was what on the game. I wanted to find all the new creatures, like this chicken guy who I didn't capture until incredibly late into the game for some reason, and that was a mistake. He was really handy farming. But yeah, just walking around and picking up resources also ended up helping me out a lot, and turns out the game rewards you for capturing the same creature and also just caving the skull in with a bat, so that was cool. So we returned to the spot which I'm kind of hoping to make into a home base, and just committed more violence on the locals. Like, this game is incredibly violent. Now these early hours into the game I had no idea what I was doing or what I wanted to do. I just kind of kept flicking through all the menus and seeing what resources I should probably have on me. Ended up just being a bunch of wood. Wood seems handy for every situation. I pretty much just beat up trees until the sun went down, then adventured. Found this creature. So this was actually an interesting battle. Daydream, the creature is called, is actually one of my favourites now and one of the most useful, probably the single most useful creature in my base, so that was a very positive capture. I then discovered the climbing mechanic, which was really cool. I don't know why I didn't expect it, but I just didn't expect it. And then I introduced Daydream to the base, or the base to be. Now at this point, every single time I was adventuring out, I was finding a new creature, and I wasn't quite in the habit of capturing everything I saw yet, but it's because I didn't want to waste resources. I was also studying the land that I decided to build on, and I realised that I could really branch out here. This could be a very positive base. Now, each time I adventured out, I was getting a bit more cocky. I was going further out and just trying new things, testing to see if you could swim, seeing how high you could climb, and also seeing how strong these bastards are. The answer is strong. They're strong. Like, I do not plan to fight this guy again anytime soon. His stomp there would have killed me if I didn't happen to run behind that rock, so I fled. I'm shamefully admitting, I just ran, and I climbed. And I ran and I climbed and I ran and then I climbed some more and then I just ran. It was just, nope. I just noped my way out of that situation. Then I found a cave, and I keep saying that I played Ark before, so I know not to go into caves, but I really wanted to explore the cave. And every single creature we come into contact with in the cave was incredibly powerful. It was so early in the game, I should not have been doing any of this. However, I'm still trying to find the creature that kind of connects with me, the creature that I see and go, yep, that's the one I want. I haven't found it yet, but I did find Ruby. Now, Ruby was a boss, right? And it was a spicy boss. I got a lucky capture here. 28% success rate ended up landing me the Ruby, so that was nice. And then, after being set on fire, I just... what the... Anyway, back at base, I decided that I kind of needed to, you know, build the base. So I cracked on with that. I noticed none of my powers had beds, and also I still don't have any clothes. I kind of just wasted all my tech points at this point, trying to just get every single thing I thought was useful and then gather a bunch of resources. The main aim here is to make a self-sustainable base so I can go off an adventure whilst my powers will kind of, well, do everything for me. I'm very lazy. I ended up making myself a tiny little shelter, mainly because you have to place beds on foundations, they can't just go on the ground. So because of that, I built a tiny little house where I could just put everything that kind of functioned like that. This isn't going to be a forever base, this is just a starter base. A lot of this will be changed, and I'm most likely going to move on in a couple of days, so it served a purpose. Look at this little face. Daydream's coming with me. Daydream is coming with me. So yeah, the powers actually helped me build quite a lot of the base, and it made things go a lot quicker. We now had beds for them, we had places they could get food, and as long as they were sustainable, well, so was my base. Things went a lot quicker here. All I had to do was place things, and one of the pals would come over and build it for me. I had started the foundation of my base here, so I decided to go out adventuring with Ruby and kind of just see what Ruby was like in combat. It also turns out the structure at the start of the game was a fast travel point that I completely missed, so yeah, I got to keep an eye out for those now. So there was no real purpose here to anything I was doing, I just kind of wanted to explore, see what was around me, and to see what creatures were nearby. Maybe I could capture something that would come in really handy for my base, who knows. But yeah, turns out not too far away from me at all, there was just so many new pals I'd never seen, and I didn't actually capture any of them. I don't know why. I didn't really want to waste any of the pal spheres, because I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know if there was something better nearby, or if this was it. So the main purpose here was just exploration. I needed to know. But yeah, when I say we adventured. We went far and wide. And to say I didn't capture anything isn't technically true, because I found this Pikachu. Or, Sparkit. Now, Sparkit isn't the most valuable member of the team, but he certainly does have his uses. Now, clearly this game takes a lot of inspiration from stuff like Pokemon, so I thought creatures that kind of look like Pikachu would have some, like, cool features that would be able to do something. Now, Sparkit does actually have a stun ability, which makes creatures a lot easier to capture, so he's not completely useless, but I don't think it will take long for me to find another electric pal that can clearly outshine him. Speaking of shine, I found a light in the distance and kind of followed it, because I'm like a giant magpie. That helped me find a small settlement. I spoke to the locals. They said nothing of value, but it was nice to see that there are cool little settlements like this dotted around the game. And I found a fast travel point, which helped me get back home. Overall, I felt like this was going really well, until I found a new game feature, right? So that would be the raids. Now, the different level of waves or what attacks you and stuff like that is something I still don't know too much about. And we did kind of take out this raid relatively easy. I think a lot of my creatures were overpowered, and because these look like demon dinosaur creatures, I had to have one. I had one. I have one now. So apart from mass screeching, that fight went really well. I noticed that Ruby is very accurate with the shooting, so I'll have to keep that one in mind. After that, I ended up making an egg incubator and managed to incubate one of the eggs I found on my travels, as Ruby watched my back. Respect Ruby. I managed to upgrade my base yet again and got yet another POW that could work around the base. After the egg had successfully incubated, I took it out to see what creature I had unlocked. It was Dumud. Now, I don't know if this is like a rap style Dumud, or I don't know what I call him, but all he does is just headbutt rocks. This is Dumud. So it looked like the stone was covered, so I started managing the trees. I brought in a passive way to get stone and wood and made sure to put chests around both of them so it was an easy way to store them. Now, I don't know what happened here, but I kind of think it was gunfire. So, as you can see, it looked and sounded like there was gunfire going on, so I rushed down with my spear, no idea what I was going to do, but I was just being nosy. I found nothing, only a bunch of POWs on half health, so clearly something had gone on. I then decided to capture all the creatures in the area that I didn't have, and slowly return back to base, being very cautious that the armed intruder was not nearby. After convincing myself I was alone, I went back to building up my base. Now, this is not the prettiest base, and it's built purely for function. It brings in resources, it does its job. I will do better, I promise. I then managed to make a stone mining facility, but nothing was getting built or done, but I guess they kind of deserve their beauty sleep. They have been working non-stop for 10 days. Now, we had a passive way to bring in wood and stone, which were the main two things, but I really needed to do more, and I wasn't too sure about how, so I kind of spent the next day just contemplating ideas. I didn't know if maybe finding a new creature with a new ability would kind of spark an idea in my head of what I could do next, so I just kind of brought Ruby back out and we explored. And do you remember that Torterra I said I didn't want to fight? Yeah, so I decided to fight him with my Lambo again, and yeah, that went as well as you would have thought. So I decided once again that I was going to run away. I thought, nope, I choose safety, I choose life. Now, I had this idea where I was going to keep throwing my POWs at him and get them to lower his health, and then I would just sneak up and capture him, because obviously that would work. But no, this guy was incredibly powerful and just didn't want to leave me alone. He ended up following me all the way down, which I didn't actually realize there was a path there, so that's on me. But yeah, bro rocked up at my base, and I cannot explain how much that nearly fucked me up. So I ran up to face him, not because I wanted to fight him, but so he didn't destroy everything I had built. Now, this is where I was kind of evaluating my team. Every single one of them comes to battle, right? None of them done anything, really. This guy was just way too much for us. And we did manage to spam stun him with Spark It, and then we got a few hits on. But no matter how many hits we got on him, it wasn't doing anything. He was never falling. He just wouldn't die. And yeah, it didn't take much for him to wipe out my entire team. So I had two options. I could 1v1 this guy, or I could run away and make him chase me to the other side of the map, never to be seen again. Yeah, I chose the latter. So I fled to the other side of the game, and I saved my base, I guess, kind of, must have. Now, the good thing about being at the other side of the game is there's a lot of creatures I have never seen. This time I was kind of stockpiled, which come in really handy because I found a boss. This boss didn't look like anything, and I actually felt really confident in the fact that I could take him. Then these syndicate thugs kind of showed up, so I could judge how tough the boss was by how quickly he killed them. It was just basically playing Dark Souls. You roll and you stab, and you roll and you stab some more, but the only difference is at the end you throw a Pokeball, which is a shard. So it was just me and that chicken, so we actually managed to win, and I captured my first ever boss. I didn't know if he would stay the same size or shrink down, but no, it was the same size, so that was quite cool. Then on my way back to base, I found this flying creature, and it was killing a bunch of syndicate thugs as well. I have never seen a flying creature in this game yet, and I was determined to catch it, although he was determined to not be caught. However, a few stabs to the kidney, and a couple of vocal words that I will not include in the video, and he was captured. Just W's all around. And that's not even the best part. So basically I just adventured all the way home, and every creature I like the look of I just captured. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this guy. Now the chicken just kind of attacks everyone. It is really handy because we went on a mass capturing spree. We caught so many, and every single one of them was vital, or is vital right now to our base. It is really early days, not just for the game, but for me on the game too. But I'm really liking the look of where it's going. And then we found this boar guy. Now, I didn't actually know if I should capture the boar. It was very low level and I didn't actually know what I was going to use him for, but he was new, so we caught him. That's Rush Boar. I then managed to find a Syndicate Thug base, but I didn't quite make it there. We kind of fell through the map. I landed in the water, so I thought I'd swim over, see what's there. I can scout out the base and then find a way to get back up. However, I didn't know that I was running out of stamina, so I drowned. I did not make it to the base. So after this, I ended up being in base siege, and the base was looking very operational. It was now self-sustainable in a way that, well, let me show you. I promise I will learn these names, but for now you're just gonna have to go off what I know them as. So I had Chicken Guy here, who was kind of just laying eggs. The eggs would get put into a food basket. The food would refill the stamina and energy of the other creatures, and those creatures would constantly bring in stone and wood. So I had a constant flow of resources. It wasn't very fast, but it was constant. Even Rushball decided to help when he wasn't doing anything. Every single one of the pals had a role in my community. And it was effective, and it was actually really kind of fulfilling to see how the base grew. I had no idea if I was going to have an absolute disaster jumping into this game or if I was going to enjoy it, but I definitely enjoyed myself. And I'm actually really proud of the base. Every time I walk around, somebody is doing something, and it makes me feel like the hard work I done, because there was a lot of hard work. At least had a positive outcome, and every now and then when I had nothing to do I would help the pals, but the fact that I didn't need to, it was a good way to live, especially considering I didn't play too much of this game. So if you want to see a part 2, which I am hoping to do, you know what to do.